Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to round number 7 of the SRS GT3 series, live at the Nurburgring for tier number 1. I am your host and commentator for today's race, SD_RDZ, and I'm once again joined today by the driver of the number 66 SDM Viper. And Viper, once again, welcome to the commentary box. Of course, I do understand that you are not racing today as a result of you being in the commentary box for me today.
That would be correct. Good sir.
And so of course, if you were just joining us, of course you did realize that we were live earlier today for the replay of tier number 2's race at Bathurst for round number 6. So like I said, you guys are getting 2 episodes here today, and it looks like we might be getting the tier number 2 guys for a merged lobby today. So tier 1 and tier number 2, so a mixed round of racing for you today, which most of you are probably going to be looking forward to as well. And so now I just got to get the live stream. Yeah, I guess we're going to get multi-class racing at its finest, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, absolutely, indeed. It's going to be quite the ascent.
Yeah, this looks to be pretty interesting here, as we do have both tiers of. It appears that we're going to have both tiers of action on for today as well.
Yep. And Swift now has just set a 1.259 second gap for the fastest lap, which is quickly swept up by Carbon R in the Lexus there. So that man now the fastest guy on the track now.
Yeah, Carbon R not having of course, despite qualifying very, very well in that number 34 Sidewinder racing by SDM Lexus RCF GT3. Of course, he was only able to get as high as P8 after having a couple of incidents on track last time out, but hopefully he can rebound and get a good points result here today for the Nurburgring. And then you got second place of Quabales in the number 46 Speed Eagles entry in the KRT-SE Aston Martin there. So the Aston Martin should be a little more nimble and should be right up with the guys up top. As we're starting to see the Sidemax Motorworks Audi Sport Crew top the times at that. And then you got Yere in the 77, of course. Oh, and there goes Swift, who's going to make his off-track excursion in the 95. So the 77 of Yere. And of course, this track should be very well designed for these Audi R8s. And there's his teammate in the hands of the 95 is Swift. So, and these two drivers, of course, they're quick drivers, but they have had quite a challenge of adjusting to these Audis for the season. And of course, with only 3 rounds to go, including today, it's going to be very, very tight to see how well they can remount and challenge to our championship leaders up at the front. There is the number 7 of James Head, who's made the switch from Porsche over to Aston Martin. So, of course, not having the best of luck with the Porsche, but hopefully that can change here with the Aston Martin. We'll see how that goes to plan as well. Before we take a look at the tier 2 guys, let's take a look at some of the tier 1 guys who are all in the pit lane. There is going to be the number 78 of Tice, who's going to come out of pit lane, as he's going to allow most of these guys to come well and truly past the start finish line, I should say. So there's Tice in the 78, and then you got Splash in the number 11 Falcon Motorsports by SDM entry. And so having a very, very wonderful P4 finish last time out at Bathurst, very, very comfortable for him. So hopefully he can rebound a bit more and get some more good points on the board here for today as well. And we're going to take a look at the Tier 2 engines. We've got the hands of Bo Fishadara in the number 88 McLaren, once again sporting a new livery, I should say, with the black and the
gold right there.
Goldish kind of color. Of course, not shiny gold, but it looks like to be a matte finish kind of gold. So that's a very interesting livery for that McLaren as well. And then you've got the 69 of Hairraiser, who is going to be looking very strong after his win his win at Bathurst earlier last week. But of course today, if you did watch the replay of that, streamed a little late, but nothing too significant as well. Then there is Doug Barrow in the 13 as well, so it's going to be interesting to see how that goes in that class of racing as well for the 13. And then you've got B8 UTAP in the Honda NSX, the 34 for the Repsol sponsored Honda NSX. And he'll be looking to make another run in Tier 2 here today. And then you've got the number 27, a bar 27, in that Aston Martin Vantage GT3 behind the Aston Martin of Cabales. Of course, Aston Martin, a strong presence here today with 3 total cars appearing to be in this merged lobby as a result of that. Then you've got SMN Palmer in the 24, who has been on an absolutely fine edge here in this Mercedes, yet he's been trying to do as much as he can to gain whatever he can against his main championship rival, T5 Black, who I believe is still in the pit lane. Yes, he is. T5 Black in the pit lane, so nothing a whole lot from his side of things.
I think he's just waiting for it to get qualifying underway.
I believe so as well. So we're waiting for the steward's discretion to get qualifying away, and this race will be pivotal in the fact that it should give some of these Tier 2 guys a bit of spotlight for today's qualifying session. Everyone looking to be ready to go.
I think everyone's ready to go.
And I think, yeah, total 14 cars for today. So merged lobby as a result. Of course, we're missing the 2 main entrants of Patrolhead and Superboy out of Tier 2, as is Iapez, so a little down on Tier 2 entries, making it so that we can be able to merge into this mixed grid of racing here today for Tiers 1 and Tier 2. Of course, mostly everyone's saying they're ready to go for qualifying today. And at the moment, Yuri looking very strong here at the moment in that Audi R8. Now, I'm not sure if anyone else has had a chance to improve on, or has gone faster than the 54.865, so it's going to be of interest to see how things do shape on out later in the running. Let's see who's not joined out on track yet. There is Splash, and then there is Carbonar.
I think they're just trying to work with each other a little bit.
I believe that's Quinner saying good luck everyone. Thanks Quinner for joining out on the stream, mate. And of course we do know that your internet is not being the best
to race, but it's certainly the best to watch.
It's the best to stream.
Whoa, hair raising.
Big slide for hair raising in the background right there. And Splash doing the mindful thing, I believe, to sit back and let the Lexus do its part.
Absolutely, indeed.
So now we're just waiting for qualifying to start for 10 minutes here. Yellow flags in the start-finish line. I believe that is for the pit lane of T5 Black. Thank you everyone for tuning out here today for this 7th round of the SRS GT3 series as we wait patiently for qualifying to start. There it is, qualifying about to start for 10 minutes here of the very tight and very technical Nurburgring GP circuit. Of course, he's almost collected the number 46 of Cabales. And so qualifying about to start. Oh, and we have a black screen.
Yeah.
Oh, and there we go. So who will lead them off is the big question. I believe it is going to be the Mercedes of Tice. Oh, and Palmer. Well, that's a disconnect.
Well,
wow.
That's bad news right
Oh, my
there.
goodness. Is that going to be a red flag even before qualifying has even begun is the big question. To get Palmer back into this race lobby.
Unless everyone backs up. Yeah. Tice slowing down.
Yeah, Tice is...
I think he's flagging the field here.
Yeah, I think he is going to be flagging the field. Yep, and it is going to be restarted, this qualifying session.
Palmer back in, of course. So everyone will get back to the pit lane. And just back on out, and we'll get this shortly reset, and everyone's ready. Looks like Swift.
Did Swift just yeet it into the freaking wall?
Swift's having a little too much fun right here. That's what.
Yes, he did.
Swift, buddy, you can't do that, mate. Well,
this ain't qualifying.
I know.
I think these guys have to fully back out of the... Yeah, cancel entry, of course. Waiting patiently for these guys. Oh, of course, I do have a Fall Guys M6 livery, by the way, as well, so we'll get that on the stream as well. Yep, got to cancel the entry. And so qualifying has been canceled, like most things in 2020. Terrible joke to make, I understand.
That wasn't a good joke.
That was not a good joke, I know, I shouldn't have probably said that. And so now, waiting for everyone to get back on the track, get a little bit more practice before qualifying. And Palmer's left again, so this might not be good news for Palmer. Of course, he's got a continuous podium streak, and is really trying to mount a bit of a challenge to the championship leader T5 Black in tier number 1. Same new lobby is the big thing, so might be a new lobby. Might be the way to go to get Palmer back into this lobby. Of course, Ty's going to make the final deciding factor to see how that's going to pan on out.
Could be a new lobby.
Very might well be a new lobby. Gonna try in this one.
Yeah, probably try once more.
Sharon Palmer's saying, just rebooting, I think it's the weather over here as well. Yeah, I think it might be because of the fact that the weather over in Great Britain is not the best, so... Let's take a look at my trusty weather app here just to confirm what the hee-haw is going on over there in Great Britain, I'd say. And so while we patiently wait for Palmer to try and I think they're doing a full-on internet restart over on Palmer's.
Some guys just think taking this time to get some extra practice labs on the racetrack at the moment. Yeah, so certainly some people taking lots of advantage of the track, this internet reset, get some extra practice labs in. We all know all these drivers are ready for qualifying. Just trying to get a little bit of extra practice in before they do so. So we're going to probably see some guys pushing extra hard here this time around until qualifying starts.
Yeah, trying to get that last minute practice in. Of course, this is kind of unexpected for these drivers because of the fact that we've had a driver disconnect. So we're trying to troubleshoot to see how quickly he can get back in the race lobby. And look at the amount of drivers just coming out onto the track at the moment. Just, of course, waiting on Palmer so we can get things started here for this 7th round of the SRS GT3 series. Not even much in terms of and there's not much in the way of just trying to make sure we can get everyone in the party. Of course, it is on a little bit of a time delay at the moment. We do apologize in advance for that, but of course things do happen on games and where fortunately they might not be to the best of our abilities to be able to prevent them, but we can certainly try and make it to the best. There is Palmer in the 24, rejoining now as we speak, and we're going to wait to see him rejoining and getting qualifying up and going real shortly. Is that a car that's gone off is the big question. Or it's a car that's slow. Is it UTAP in that Honda NSX? Oh, it's actually Tice, who's a bit slow. It's going back to pits. And hopefully there won't be too many incidents on track today. Looks like Swift serving his penalty. Going to be starting another flying lap here. Keep it, so we'll take you on for a quick lap here for this SRS GT3 series. Yellow flags at the moment with Tice now rejoining the track. He's got a lot of cars coming out. That mirror sits so high up in that card as well. I just realized that. And there is the qualifier about to go. So qualifying about to start. So Palmer, I assume, did make it back to the track, and yes, he is in the pit lane. And so now these guys will have 10 minutes to set the fastest lap in this mixed division of Tier 1 and Tier 2 for racing here today.
Absolutely, indeed. And Bo's just going to jump Tice out
straight on out of the pits.
Immediately out.
Immediately on out, so...
Bo trying to settle for some clean air.
Oh, yes, he is.
I think Tice is going to try and find a way around this guy right here, because he knows he wants that clean air as much as he does. These guys are trying to battle for track position right here.
Yeah, Bo Fischdar going to actually let the Mercedes of Tice on by, not trying to get in his way whatsoever. And so, it's going to be interesting to see how this does pan on out with this tight and twisty technical circuit, which just had the Nurburgring 24 hours conclude a couple of hours ago. And of course, it looks like the track has dried on up, so I'm going to see how, now, given what's the grip level going to be like, how does the rubber from the previous race in the night running into the morning running, is that grip still there, or are they going to have a lot to work with in terms of the wet weather that did play its part? Funny that it's actually cloudy right now at the north side. Oh no, it's actually a bit of cloudy conditions right now at the Nurburgring, so looks like a bit of time for these guys to get some dry running here for today. Ty's gonna lead them off for the first flying lap, and I think it's gonna just be a sub-minute, 2-minute time. Ooh, Bo Fischdar getting very, very close to the number 78.
And he's gonna let the McLaren on by.
He is going to let the McLaren on by. So Tier 2 driver Bo Fischdar is going to lead them off, even though getting very, very slidey out of the final corner. Tice in the background, James Head in the background, UTAP in the background, Bar 27 in the background. A couple of these Tier 2 guys actually going out and ahead before even the Tier 1 guys get to the start-finish line. Splash now, Cabales, Doug Barrow, Hair Razor, and then Swift. And then T5 Black, Carbon R, and then Ure and Palmer will lead them off. Looks like Palmer's very, very slow at the moment. Not too sure what the issue with that is. He's vying for clean air for this qualifying session, which is going to be interesting to note because he's taken the first 2.5 minutes to get himself ready for this qualifying session. There is James Head in the 7. Of course, his first race with the Aston Martin V12 Vantage in the series. Of course, not having the best of luck, like we said, with the Porsche 911 GT3 RSR, but hopefully he can get a bit more luck with this car. He's got a lot of British tradition as he just dips a wheel onto the gravel, going through the Schumacher S's. So now everyone going to start coming to the beginning of to the conclusion, I should say, of their first flying laps. And so everyone going to start making their way through the chicane and through the final corner. Bo Fischdar is going to lead them off. Tier 2 driver going to set the benchmark here today. And then it's going to be Ty setting the benchmark for the Tier 1 division. Of course, it's a 155.1, then a 155.2 for Bo and Tice, respectively. James Head with a 155.7. And so UTAP with a 58, Bar with a 55.9, and Splash with a 55.5. So that's a good lap for him. Cabales with a 55.9. Not a good lap for him, unfortunately. Doug Barrow into 5th place overall. Hairraiser with a 56.0. Swift to pole position with a 55.1. But T5 Black goes 8 tenths better with a 54.327.
Carbon R in 3rd place here.
Carbon R in 3rd place, just behind Swift at a 55.163. Yuri with a 54.817.
So Palmer now.
And so where does Palmer come out in all of this? 67 thousandths behind the leading Corvette of T5 Black. And at the moment, Bo Fishidara getting that Tier 2 pole position, a little mixed in with some of the Tier 1 competitors. And this is giving a bit of Tier 1, a bit of Tier 2 competitors a bit of luck. And so T5 Black doing very, very strong work of this field here today. And so now T5 Black is making his way through the section of the Schumacher S's. So T5 Black, we're not sure. It looks like he's a bit down on his lap at the moment.
Some people making pit stops here for...
Yeah, people are going to make some pit stops, which is going to include Tyson, our Tier 2 pole sitter, Bo Fishidara. Splash also going to come into the pits as well. T5 Black going to come into the pits as well. Cabales with a 55.439, but I don't think it's improved his position that much. Oh, he's actually jumped 5 tenths, so he's jumped a fair amount of drivers. T5 Black and Carbon are going to all come into the pits. So a couple of guys electing the fresher rubber instead of a faster flying lap. Cabala is going to be one of those guys that will elect for a faster flying lap.
Yeah, absolutely. And a lot of the top guys as well. They're making pit stops as well for tires like Yuri and Palmer as well. So they'll be on another flying lap here for one more chance here.
And so the Cymax crew are looking impressively strong here with the Mercedes of Palmer in the 24, but the Audis of Yuri and Swift is the Audis more. We said that the Audis were very strong at this Nurburgring GP circuit. I think that's going to show here today with Yuri up in 3rd place, but not even that far off of T5 Black. Half a second of gap between himself and the pole sitter T5 Black. Is he preparing himself to go even faster than that 54.817? And Swift's only at a 55.1 at the moment.
Not the position that the Cymax Audis want to be in, so because they definitely want to try and be up there in the podium spot because they know they've got a fast car and they want to try and challenge T5 Black and as well as Palmer, because Palmer is a very, very experienced driver as well, and not only that, but T5 Black is as well.
And you can see Palmer a little bit on the brakes at the moment. He's trying to really burn out the fuel a little bit as well. So that's kind of an interesting strategy on how he's going to go out and about for getting another hot lap for this race.
Yeah, he can just take all the time he wants to.
And Bo Fishidara once again going to lead them off for, I believe,
he'll have 2 more.
He'll have this lap and 1 more, but I don't think... Who's that behind is the big question right there. UTAP with a 57, so...
Yeah, this is going to be the final lap.
This is going to be the final lap for some of these guys.
Splash is going to lead them off.
Splash, I think, is going to be the first one to get that final flying lap. And he's got Bar 27 behind him as well. Cabales is actually going to try and take a bit of a gamble here for fresher rubber if he can make it back up to the final lap. Yeah, if he can make it back up there, which I think it's going to be a bit close. He might have a shot, but like I said, it is going to be extremely close to see if Cabales can make that final lap. I think Bar 27, I believe, is just going to miss out on that final flying lap.
And unfortunately so there. So Splash, like we said, was going to be the first guy to cross the line as soon as qualifying is over. Doug Barrow, we see going off a little bit wide there. Hairraiser just hanging back there.
Yeah, they're both. Yeah, I think Hairraiser is trying to get a toe off of Doug Barrow because I don't think Hairraiser is quite happy with that qualifying position. I think these two cars are somewhat struggling with this Nurburgring GP layout. So the Mercedes might not be the best car for this circuit. So I think the Audis are looking very, very strong here today as well. And there is Bo Fishadara, and I think he is going to get another lap in that McLaren 650S GT3.
As long as he doesn't make it.
He's definitely on for an improvement this time by in that McLaren. So he's definitely going to be mixing himself up with some of these Tier 1 competitors, which is going to be interesting to see how that plays on out.
They're making that McLaren work very, very well in these corners.
He's definitely on course for a personal best lap, even though he's 1.3 seconds off the pole position man of T5 Black. So the man on pole position in Tier 2 goes to 4th fastest. What a lap for Bo Fishadara, and he's going to get one more lap. And so who's going to be the first one to cross the finish line? It is UTAP all the way down in 14th place. Not a lot of improvements, and Harris has actually got himself a penalty. Not a lot of improvements this time by, but what a lap for Bo Fishadara. Ties up into 3rd place overall with a 54.785. And so, not a lot of improvements like we had mentioned. Yuri up back into 3rd place with a 54.513. And he'll be very happy about that lap. T5 Black, no improvement as well for him. James Head improves, but not a whole lot. Palmer, can he get the better? No improvement, but once again, it will be the Corvette of T5 Black who will get that pole position for the 7th round of the SRS GT3 series for tier number 1. And then 5th overall, Bo Fishadara, he's not even done. He gets this extra lap, and he gets a guaranteed pole position in one of those cars that you don't expect to be very good, and he's making it very, very good.
A half-second penalty right there.
But that's not going to matter because he's done the work, because the next guy in tier number 2 is all the way down in 11th place with Doug Barrow. That is a monumental gap. At bar 27, only 3 thousandths slower than Doug Barrow, and that is close, my friends.
Yeah,
that is very close. 5 cars in for tier number 2, but 9 in tier number 1 here today.
Yeah, it's amazing. So,
so Bo Fishadara, coming through the final corner, can just kick out the clutch or go to the full throttle.
Yeah, he's just
and that will be it for qualifying. So T5 Black will get that pole position over Palmer once again with a strong 3rd place for qualifying. And now tier number 1 and tier number 2, even though it says tier number 1 on your screen, it's going to be a dicey one here, ladies and gentlemen. You got T5 Black and Palmer making up the front row with Yuri and Tyson row 2. Bo Fishadara for tier 2 pole in 5th place, with Swift in 6th place. Carbonara and Cabales in 7th and 8th. James Head and Splash make up the 4th row, or 5th row, I should say. I'm sorry. And then Doug Barrow, Bar 27, Hair Razor, and B8 UTAP will round off the grid here today. So you got the 4 red lights on the back of the start-finish gantry. And now it's Green Flag Racing, a very quick green, gonna back on out and go quickly on, and T5 Black with a great start. And a bit of a lag from Palmer, but I think it should be I think it should be okay. And Swift not wasting a lot of time, quickly getting by the tier 2 pole position man of Bo Fishadara, and this is going to be a race with a lot of attrition here today.
Oh yeah, you got all these experienced drivers here.
Oh, it looks like Doug Barrow is really trying to get by the number 34 of Carbon R, but Carbon R, and he's already beaten it around! You cannot make this up!
Oh, it looks like he had some help from one of the Aston Martins there.
Did he get help is the big question. And so I think it might be the Aston Martin of Cabales.
First of all, it gets loose, and then
I think Cabales just really had nowhere to go, unfortunately. And so all of a sudden, Carbon R is well and truly back in 14th place.
And not a good start for that Australian right there. Coming out from
Turn our eyes back up to the front of the field where T5 Black is going to lead them off with a very strong start after leading off from pole position as well. Palmer now starting to build the gap and decrease that gap a little bit with his teammate Urey and Tyson Swift all in second, third, fourth, and fifth. It's a SRS Motorsports train out here with a sea of red, white, and black for that team right there.
Those four cars are most certainly going to work together to try to do anything that they can to stop T5 Black from getting as high of a position as he already is in right now. So, but look at Bo Fishadara
and Doug Barrow. Look at Doug Barrow. He's really capitalizing on this gap that Bo Fishadara I think might be struggling a little bit in that McLaren on this first lap, and this is allowing Doug Barrow to really close back up into the lead. Look at the train of cars that we're seeing on the screen right here.
Yeah, Bo Fishadara just needs to stay with this train right here and try to make something happen. Oh, looks like Bo had a look on the inside of the 95 right there. A little bit of non-class action.
Yeah, I think he's really trying to put somebody from Tier 1 behind him, because some of these Tier 2 guys are really keeping up with these Tier 1 guys, and this is very, very good.
A little wide there from Doug and Bo right there, but they keep it straight there. Nice car control.
Oh, Swift going a bit wide. Oh. Was that bit of understeer from the 95? We'll take a look at that again real quickly. Yeah, he let off a little bit. Yeah, I think it was a bit of understeer from the 95 of Swift. So Swift might be having to look backwards instead of forward, I'd say. He's going to defend onto the inside a little bit.
Bo had to make a line work.
Side by side for the two cars, and Swift going to drive it a bit too much into the corner, but Bo Fishadara
great defense.
Really all over the back bumper of this 95. And so these two guys have Urey and Tice now kind of just hanging back a little bit as well. Now this is the battle that we've been waiting for all day long here between the Team Simpat Racing crew of T5 Black and Palmer for Side Max Motorworks. And these two drivers have had an absolutely heated battle this season as well, and it was at its height last time out at Bathurst. So this is going to be quite the interesting battle to see how this all pans out from here on out.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how T5 Black can handle this up and added pressure here, as we see currently Hairraiser making on a move on Splash for 9th place overall right there in that part of the race right there. So,
and keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, just because we have 14 people does not mean that the championship points are going to be altered. It's that it's going to be individual classes. So basically, if you get, if you're like Splash, who's, a bit down the order behind some of the Tier 2 guys, he will finish the race based on his tier. So whatever position he finishes in his Tier 1, that's the amount of points he's going to get in that position as well. So he's not going to finish 10th, but he's going to finish a bit higher up due to the fact that we have some of these Tier 2 guys in there as well. And this battle, and it's going to get a bit explosive between Bo Fishadara and Doug Barrow, the two old chaps going at it once again. And I think that McLaren had to get a little bit of understeer to kind of get itself straightened out a little bit as well.
Bit of race on him. Didn't want to do nothing there just yet.
Turn our eyes back up to the front of the field where T5 Black still leads by less than 0.3 of a second over the number 24
Palmer. Palmer in a little deep right there. Was trying to get up to the back bumper of T5 Black there, but just swung it a little bit wide in that corner. On board through the Schumacher S's now at the moment, as it looks like Palmer is going to try to get a little bit of a run here on T5 Black here.
Going to start looking at the inside of that number 79 Chevrolet Corvette, which has looked very strong here for the most part of this season. Of course, T5 Black's going to get 3 wins this season compared to Palmer's 1 win this season at Suzuka. Of course, T5 Black winning at Brands Hatch, Interlagos, and the most recent round at Bathurst. So, and T5 Black a little bit on the grass, but I don't think he lost too much time in that 79 Corvette. So, he's trying to make up some lost ground while he can as well. Doug Barrow with a 0.5 penalty over Bo Fishadara, I'm pretty sure. Bo Fishadara actually, I think, getting a bit of help from the number 46
of... looked like he lagged.
He got some damage, as a matter of fact. So what's happened? He's actually hit that inside pit lane. And did Kubalas get some damage?
No damage for Corballo.
Oh my goodness me, and that's not good news for the number 88 McLaren 650S of Bo Fischedara. And I didn't think anyone was going to hit that inside pit lane, but I guess my theory has been proven wrong here today, so.
Yeah, it happens.
Bar 27 now closing up to this battle between Hairraiser and Splash. Of course, they're not fighting each other for Tier 2 and Tier 1 respectively, but of course they're trying to fight for track position.
Has Jameson had an incident somewhere? Because he's suddenly back in P13.
It looks like he has, but we'll double check with that as well.
Yeah, it's probably just...
Unless he's very slow, which could be the case, but I'm not 100% sure about that as well.
T5 Black still stretching that gap. But it looks like the Audis have kind of caught some ground back up on the top two of this race here, so... Oh no, Tice is... Tice is there as well. Swift kind of is just, doing his own thing at the moment.
Oh, for sure.
In terms of defending as well. He's worried about his position instead of trying to gain that ground up on the top four at the moment.
The gap now 0.7 of a second between T5 Black and Palmer. Palmer realizing that he cannot let that Corvette of T5 Black slip from his grasp, because basically if he gets another winner this season, that could pretty much be the end of his championship hopes right there. So hopefully he can still stay behind this Corvette and keep at an arm's length. Oh, Yuri on the gravel a little bit, so these guys starting to get a bit of separation from the guys behind as well. We'll take a minute to read some of the comments that you guys are saying in the stream chat here today. Palmer needs to awaken his inner Tinko time to get past T5. Also, Trev, we need to plan for a party to do sort of the secret thing. Unfortunately, Keelan, I will have to do some school work after this race, unfortunately, so possibly not the best day today, but sometime later in the week we could most definitely sort something out at a later time, so that would be better for my schedule, worst case scenario. I'll say after the race as well, so Tice, Palmer, and Yuri stay. And then so Anakin, welcome to the stream, Anakin. Go T5, go. Of course, T5 Black doing the best he can to keep Palmer at an arm's length here if he can. And it looks like Palmer's starting to build that gap up, which is something he definitely doesn't want to have happen.
Yes, T5 Black just kind of holding on for...
He's kind of holding on at the moment. Gary with a 5/10 penalty, so he must have gotten some sort of track limits penalty of some sort. Swift now starting to get away from the guys behind as well. Doug Barrow still leading the way in tier number 2 with Bo Fischedara in second place. And then this battle between Cabales, Splash, and Bar 27 having split on up, and it looks like Hairraiser is going to be the next man to be in tier number 2 in third place. Bar 27 in fourth with a 7/10 penalty as well. There is Carbonara down in 12th overall, and I believe 8th in class. James Head all the way down in 9th place in class as well for that Aston Martin entry. So the gap not really going down at the moment, which is what T5 Black wants and what Palmer certainly doesn't want to have happen as well. It looks like that Corvette is better in braking zones, because it's really building that gap into the entry of turn number 1, unless Palmer's taking it a bit too deep, or let's...
Yeah, I think Palmer's just, trying to test T5 Black and test his patience. He wants to, keep trying to make T5 Black overdrive that car a little bit more here.
Do you think he's going to try and get him on the pit lane strategy? Is going to be the big question as well. So that's going to be something of note to take into consideration.
Could be the case as
that's
well.
what I'm thinking as well, because I'm thinking if Palmer can try and stay behind this Corvette of T5 Black and save a bit more fuel and keep this gap as it is, he could jump him on pure fuel strategy alone, which could be an interesting thing to note as well, depending on how long these guys go on their stints, of course, because the tire degradation here is a little bit higher than some of these courses. Not as severe as Suzuka, Fuji, and Bathurst early in this season as well, but... Wait, do we even go to Fuji this season?
I have no idea, actually.
Did we actually?
No, we haven't.
No, I'm sorry. Why did I even mention Fuji? Oh wait, well actually because Fuji has a high tire degradation amongst like Suzuka and Bathurst as well. And so Yuri and Tice just kind of doing their own thing at the moment, not really pushing to the front of the field, I'd say.
Just kind of hanging back to see if anything happens. They're just
kind of hanging on back. Looks like we got a little bit of a battle going on between Doug Barrow and Bo Fishidara once again. So it looks like Doug Barrow might be a little bit slow in that 13. It's allowed the number 88 of Bo Fishidara to close up, as is the Tier 1 running number 46 Aston Martin of Cabales for Speed Eagles.
Yes, Cabales kind of he kind of wants to get by these guys as quick as they can, but I don't think that they're fighting their own class. So.
Doug Barrow defending onto the inside for turn number 1. Oh, and Cabales almost nearly into the back bumper. Oh, and there's a big spin for Bo Fishidara, and I'm pretty sure was that curbing that very and I'm pretty dang sure it was that curbing. Because you run right over it, and it really unsettles the car, and that cost him a fair bit of time, and even as far as losing a position. And now, Doug Barrow's got himself a comfortable position with a Tier 1 car right behind him in his sights.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that Tier 1 car is going to really make life difficult for Bo Fishidara, but at the same time, it's going to make Doug's life pretty miserable at the moment, as he's going to try and get around him for that position right there.
Now, if you were Doug Barrow, you'd want to keep that number 46 Aston Martin behind you, but if you were Cabales, you want to try and get past that 13 as soon as you can. You don't want to get stuck too far behind as well. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword at the moment, kind of between these two drivers. It's kind of like, what do you want to do? Want to keep the one guy behind, or you let the one guy go? Because Cabales, he wants to fight for guys up front, but instead he's going to be stuck behind this 13, and it's going to help this McLaren to close right back on up to this Mercedes, and this is going to be something to keep in mind as well. Oh, and Palmer now is really close back up to the Corvette of T5 Black, to the point where he's even on the back bumper. Is he going to try and force a move on to the inside is the big question. Oh, T5 Black I think was going to give him the room, but I think Palmer just backed out of it. And so I think is he going to try and go at a move at a lunge for the first corner. Palmer not really close enough, but is he close enough to make a dive and be brave about it? No, he's going to sit back and wait. Doing the sensible thing and just sit back and wait. Yuri has actually lost a position to Tice as well, so Yuri now down into 4th place overall.
Yeah, that's not going to really help. Oh, Yuri's had a half-second penalty from somewhere, so maybe
he's had a half-second penalty. Okay, so we've caught on to that already. So.
Yeah, it could be his tires could be starting to go here, so we may see some of these guys here starting to come to pit lane at the end of this lap here, suffice to say.
It might be, but I think some of these guys are going to try the 2-stop strategy, but there will be some 3-stop takers, I can believe, as well. The lead battle's still quite the same for the majority of this race. T5 Black, of course, getting that pole position, helping to his credit as well. And I think T5 Black was a bit slow heading through the Dunlop curves, through the Schumacher S's.
You think he's fuel saving in that Corvette right there?
More or less trying, I believe, but I think if he can keep that, I think Palmer might be trying to do the same as well, because I think he wants to use that 79 as a way to get Slipstream a bit closer, save a bit of the fuel, but remain extremely close to this Corvette in front of him as well. So I think this is going to benefit Palmer on the pit stop, rather than trying to make a move and be brave about it later in the race. So I think his overtake is going to come in that pit lane, I'm pretty sure.
Mm-hmm. That's where I see it happening, as well as Tice is going to slowly start to build that gap with 4th place car Yuri right there. And so I think Tice is going to try and make something happen here, because he's not too far off the leaders as we speak.
Oh, and it looks like the Bo Fishidara has actually gotten by the 46. We actually got Yuri, T5 Black, and Palmer all coming into the pit lane. So I think this 3-stop strategy is going to be the way to go for a lot of these guys. And so the Michelin's going on the Audi. Swift, as well as a couple of Tier 2 guys coming into the pit lane. Of course, Yuri not much.
And Palmer has jumped T5 Black.
That's what we were expecting to see. But in turn, T5 Black actually taking a bit more fuel than the Mercedes. So is the Corvette a bit less fuel efficient? Is the big question.
It's hard to say, really, because they're both powered by a naturally aspirated V8. You know, similar body styles, and maybe the Corvette's just a little bit more fuel efficient, but I think T5 Black filled that extra bit of fuel up just to try to get back on Palmer there for the pit cycle.
Maybe get a bit cleaner air for once they make their third stop is going to be the big thing to note as well. As Bo Fisher, I think Doug Barrow actually did come into the pits. Yes, he did. So Doug Barrow and Hellraiser and both Costa Racing by SDM entries, both making their way into the pit lane. Swift also making their way into the pits. Carbon R staying on out, as well as Splash, as well as Cabales, as well as Bo Fishadara. So I think these guys are going to try and make the two-stop work.
Could be.
Which should play out into their favor if they're trying to vie for track position. And Bo Fishadara very, very close to getting it on the...
He's hanging on.
Gravel. Yeah, he's trying to hang on. He's fifth overall, but first into Tier 2. He's not really racing these guys behind him as well. He's kind of more or less being a headache rather than a help. And Bo Fishadara coming into the pit lane. No, he's going to stay on out. Cabales and Splash all staying out. So I think they're going to try and make this two-stop strategy work in their favor a little bit.
I think that's what we're going to see a lot of these cars, or maybe even some one-stops here, as we see Carbonar, of course, coming into the pit for his first service stop of the day. Get 4 fresh fucking slicks on that car.
You are really losing your mindset here today in this race.
I'm just taking a relaxing day. I'm just telling you.
Hey, I'll tell you what. In the commentary box, you cannot be relaxed. You got to be on it. You got to be excited. So get out of my box if you're.
Oh, mate.
And so, at the moment, this battle between Splash and Cabales. Of course, these guys are going to try and go for their two-stop strategy, but I think they're going to try and go either this lap or next lap. So, within the next 2 laps, we should see these guys making their way to pit lane. Seeing Palmer keep on him. And did Tice pit? No, Tice did not pit. So he's going to try the two-stop strategy. So a bit of a mixed strategy between some of these Cymax cars. Between the Mercedes and the Audi camps.
Yeah, I'd say so myself. I'd say so. It's a two-stop for Tice, and you know everyone else down, or maybe one for some of the back.
One stop? What are you on? What are you on?
I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen.
There's no way these guys are going to do one stop. There's no way.
Tice is going to go out for another lap.
You have got to be on something if you're going to say that. There's no way they're doing one stops. There's no way. And so Splash and Bo Fishadara are going to come into the pits. Cabales is going to stay out for another lap. And so some of these Tier 1 and Tier 2 guys are going to pass these Tier 1 and Tier 2 guys for track position. Of course, Doug Barrow and Hellraiser trying to make up some lost time here. Tice needs to go about 5 minutes extra to try and make the tire degradation less for the next 2 stints. That's going to be interesting to note as well. So Tice might be trying to play the long game here if he's going to have something up his sleeve for this track position.
We've seen this man do some crazy stints in the past, so...
Yes, we have. Jesus, I can't stop burping for some reason.
So I wouldn't roll him out.
No, you definitely wouldn't roll him out. Of course, James Head making his early pit stop as well in 9th in class. Yet 13th overall. And it looks like Carbon R has actually jumped the number 11 of Splash, but I think Splash took a fair bit more fuel than the Lexus did. And so, Carbon R is going to get that track position. And we're going to see how this does pan on out for the 34.
He's just going to try and easily try to get back up there as he goes a little bit wide, but quickly corrects it. Corner exit.
And it looks like after the pit stops, it looks like Hellraiser will inherit the lead, but Doug Barrow, Hellraiser, both all in those 3 pit stop strategies, and I think Bar 27 is also on 3-stop strategy as well in third in class. But then there's Bo Fishadara, who's going to be on that 2-stop strategy as well. So I like the strategy, and Tice going to come into the pits now for his first stop of the race.
Yeah, and so the leaders are going to get back by him for the race lead. And so when is the fuel man going to let go of the gap and send Tice on his way? And that is going to be now, as Tice rejoins the track, currently sitting in 5th place.
Yeah, in 5th place, so I think by him going a little bit longer on those tires, it's going to cost him a little bit, but I think if he's trying to, he's trying to make it the 2-stop here. I'm curious to see how this is all going to pan on out, because there's so much diversity in the strategy. That's what makes races very interesting. It's just the strategy, the pace, you know, how the tires are going to hold out, the fuel. It's a mixed bag, like this mixed class of racing, like this multi-class of racing. There's a lot of strategy at play here, and I'm really excited to see how these final 37.5 minutes go for all of these competitors here today.
Yeah, kind of gone quiet here in this race here so far, but look at shuffling cameras around. We see a little
battle. And it's
battle.
definitely not going to be quiet if you are the number 27 or the 88 of Bar 27 and Bo Fishadara. And so this might be another battle that might be going in a bit of a heap at the moment, or pretty soon, I'd say. Palmer in first, Neil Palmer says. Of course, there's a lot of support from the Palmer family. Of course, rooting their son, Palmer, trying to get that all-elusive race win. But if he's going to want to have to do that, he's going to have to fend himself off from the 79 Corvette, who's been on a hard charge, and he's been setting the fastest lap of the race with a 54.014. And that pace is certainly showing here in this stage of the race. So
Palmer lets T5 Black on by. He's going to be in deep trouble here for the remainder of this race here. Oh, Palmer looked like.
And did these two stayed out, pitted at the same lap. So T5 Black making up a lot of time here in that 79 Corvette. But here's the interesting thing: look at the fuel difference between Palmer and T5 Black. T5 Black has got a lot more fuel in the tank, so if T5 Black could stay behind this number 79, this will definitely help out his cause more than it will to Palmer's cause, because he won't get that advantage in fuel strategy when they do pit once again in for about I want to say 5 minutes, 6 minutes times or so. But then again, will that 3-stop not be the way that they want to go, and unlike the 2-stop guys, which are going to try and go for tire mileage and fuel mileage in this race?
Yeah, that's going to be the main key thing here for a lot of these mid-pack runners, and especially back runners, is try to get the most amount of miles on their tires that they can get. Oh, as we see Palmer wiggling the car a little bit loose out of that corner right there, trying to maintain his position and keep the car straight. We see T5 Black looking. He's going to hang on back with Palmer through the chicane.
And so T5 Black really looking for a way to get by the number 24, which is obviously hindering his progress and trying to get a possible 4th win of the season. What a win record that would be for T5 Black.
Look at the amount of look at the rev bar when he's shifting. He's not going up any more than 50% on the.
So he's short shifting, which is going to be the interesting thing to know as well. And if that's helping out his cause, that's going to be something of interesting to note as well. As our race class leader in Tier 2, Hairraiser, is going to come into the pits for his 2nd stop. I think this is a pretty early stop, but then again, he ran pretty close on fuel, so he will have to go a little longer on this stint, I can imagine.
Yeah, I wouldn't press it up.
What? What? You need to speak up. I'm sorry, but you do.
Just rub my eyes real quick. Okay.
How about you take a break from the box for a little bit? How about you take a break?
Not yet. Give me a little bit.
Jesus. I think you need a bit more coffee in your system is what you need.
Probably.
Go get yourself a cup of coffee right now.
Okay.
Go get yourself a cup of coffee before you tire yourself out. So, so while Viper does that, I'm gonna take the head of the ship here, right here, and he needs a bit more coffee and energy to get himself motivated for this stream here, I'd say. And so Carbon R still ahead of the number 11 of Splash in the Lexus. Carbon R taking a very interesting lines here for this Lexus. It hangs behind the number 27 of Bar 27 in that Aston Martin. Not a whole lot for these runners, except for this lead battle still going on between T5 Black and Palmer. Palmer going to move to the inside. T5 Black going to follow him, but is he going to make the move all the way to the pit lane? No, T5 Black going to move to the outside, and Palmer going to hold on to that inside line, but then the back by T5 Black is actually get along. I'm pretty sure, even though T5 Black, he's gonna try a couple of things here for this Corvette, to see if he could find a way, maybe even going on the outside of some of these corners like he did at turn 2, going through Valvoline curve, then through Ford curve. And so going down towards Dunlop. And so T5 Black hard on the brakes for both these guys. And T5 Black really trying to get by this Mercedes AMG GT3, which is obviously hindering its progress and it's allowing him to save a bit more fuel. So Palmer, I assume, will be into the pits pretty soon here, but I think T5 Black is going to try and play this game a little bit longer. Palmer once again defending onto the inside, but then it's going to go once again. Oh, and I think T5 Black is going to try and force one on the outside of the Warnsteiner S, or the curbs. Then going through Advin corner, and then towards NGK chicane. Palmer onto the inside. He's going to have a lot of work to do if he wants to try and get back by the number 79, and well defended from the 24 through the through the NGK chicane, then through the Coca-Cola curve. I think that's a penalty for Palmer. Was that a cut through the chicane? And I think that's not going to help out his cause.
Could have been.
It really could have been. And Uray's not even that far off as well. He's just been sitting there. But is he trying to make a gap on back is the big question, because of these two trying to fight each other out.
T5 Black really drove it in there deep.
He did indeed. Now through the Mercedes arena. And so Bo Fischadar and Doug Barrow both coming into the pits, with Bar 27 also into the pit lane as well. And so those three stops, of course, going to pay dividends for them as well. And Carbonar, and I think Carbonar had a slow lap at one point, and now all of a sudden he's having to fight for James Head for 7th overall. And in class,
oh, he's really pushing.
He is pushing that Lexus. Oh, can Carbonar try and force a move up the inside? And he does well. And then that's great racing. That's great racing right there. Oh. And James had given the room, but I think he might have given it a little bit more contact in as a little gift on back. And so James had now, what's he got up his sleeve to get by once again that number 34? Unless that number 34 is very, very quick.
Looks like it's handling the corners very, very well.
Yeah, it's very, very well indeed. And so Splash up into 6th place. A good recovery drive for Splash in that 11 to get back up into this fight for the
top 5.
The top 5 indeed, but Swift very well and truly ahead. Tice, although making his pit stop. Palmer still ahead, actually coming into the pits. T5 Black going to follow him on in, and I think T5 Black is going to get that prime position well and truly ahead. Look at the fuel difference, a 17-liter fuel difference. And Yuri also going to come into the pit lane as well.
Where's Tice? That's the question. Where is Tice going to come out? Because
final corner probably, because he's right by with Swift.
Getting the fuel in the car. It's going to be a long drive down that front straight for Tice. And is T5 Black going to make it out in time?
Well and truly out ahead of the number 24.
Yeah, very, very much ahead.
As a matter of fact, he's actually jumped the number 78 of Tice as well, but Palmer going to suit up behind the number 78 as well. And so Yuri now in fourth place. Oh, is that a pit stop right there? Swift and James had actually coming into the pit lane for this stop.
So Swift back out currently on the racing surface.
And bar 27 going to get on by.
Actually, may let him on by.
Oh yeah, I think to be fair, I think Swift did have that track position, and he wanted to quickly get on by that number 27 without being stuck behind it for so long.
Yeah, because he knew that was one less car that he was going to have to deal with right there.
Oh, most certainly indeed. And so there's Dunk Barrow and Hellraiser and Bo Fishadara, all really close to one another as well for this fight for tier number 2 honors. As we just go through into the second half of this race. It's been quite an interesting race, I'd say, Viper. Wouldn't you agree with me?
Oh, I definitely agree with you.
Yeah, it's not the crazy heated battles that we mostly come to see in most of these races, but it's been a lot of close racing, and I think the strategy is what's making this very interesting as well, because like I said, you got some of these guys that are going on 2 stoppers, and then some of these guys that are actually going on for 3 stoppers as well. And that's made things very interesting in this race.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Seen a lot of mixed strategies being played here, but I think obviously T5 Black knew the strategy that he was going to be in from the first pit stop of this of his race. And, you know, he's really timed it up, and now he's got a heck of a lead over the 2 Sidemax Motorworks Junior Team AMG drivers of Tice and Palmer here. So things are getting in the way of T5 Black at the moment here, but let's see if that pit cycle strategy will change again at the final pit stop between these 2.
And keep in mind, the Corvette is slightly worse than that Mercedes on fuel mileage, but keep in mind, T5 Black actually short shifting for the most part of this race, so that's helping out his cause a fair bit as well. And so Team Simpat Racing, if they keep up this fine form, are looking to take their 4th win of the season, as many as 7 races. So a really outstanding performance for T5 Black this season.
Yeah, that man's just been on a mission.
And he's pretty much been the man to beat this season.
And he's just gone a tenth quicker than his fastest lap of the race so far. So he's really building that gap right now between himself and Tice. So we're going to see here in this next sector where T5 Black will end up in terms of how quick he's improved. Not by much. He lost some time,
he
but
he could even go for a 53 here this lap. That's how on the limit he is with this Corvette right about now.
Yeah, I think he's going to do a 53 right here, or potentially the next lap or so.
And then so coming through past the chicane through the Coca-Cola curve for the final corner. And will it be a 53 is the question to establish his running. Oh, he's actually lost some time in that chicane and Coca-Cola curve.
Not the final sector that he wanted here, but he knows he's got the speed to get into the 53s here, as one might assume.
Carbonar into the pits for his, I believe, second stop of the race. And so about 25 minutes ago, is he going to play the long game here with this RCF GT3?
It's going to be interesting to see here what this man here is going to do right here for the last 24-ish minutes.
He's actually gone on to the racing medium tire compound, which
yeah,
is
he's gonna go to the end.
Yeah, I think he's gonna go to the end of this race on those tires. And so we'll see how this strategy does pan on out. And I think that was his second stop of the race. And we'll see how that Lexus runs on those medium tires.
Yeah, I definitely think he'll make up some positions.
Oh, but not by doing that, and not by doing that either as well.
Tires a little cold right there. You wanna
warm them up, so just be a little bit mindful of what Carbonar is having to work with. And so Carbonar now on those mediums like we had mentioned. Going to go to the end of this race on those mediums, but how much positions can he get back is going to be the big question here.
It's all going to be about when these guys are going to pit, though. And look at the gap. T5 Black has just opened up on Palmer and Tice. And actually, Palmer has actually gotten by for second to take that away from Tice right there. So
I think they might have just made that easy for Palmer as well, to not really get in the way, I'd say. And how about Splash in 5th place in this running as well? Where is Swift, by the way? He's all the way down in 10th place. So Swift having a rather difficult day at the moment, but I think that's because of the fact that he did pit a little bit earlier ago, and these guys are going to all have to come in for another pit stop here. And like we had mentioned, Swift, not sure if he's going to go for a third stop, which might be his Achilles heel later in this running.
Yeah, Swift is just kind of just trying to have a consistent day. I think he's not the...
Oh, I mean, I don't think that's consistent by your standards right there.
I was just going to say, but
he's actually 10,000
faster,
quicker than T5 Black through Sector 1.
I think he's just trying to go for the fastest lap at the moment here.
That's a possibility.
Oh, he's just...
Yeah, I think he's trying to hot lap at the moment with those softs, because I think he knows in about 6 minutes time that he will have to come back into the pits, I assume, for his third and final stop of the day. Trying to get back whatever little time he can. He has actually lost 0.2, or maybe even as little as 0.3 of a second in that sector. Through the Schumacher S's, then to the Michelin Curve. And so this battle, Bofish and Dara has kind of stretched that gap out for the Tier 2 lead a fair margin, at least 6 seconds, but I think that's because
Hairraiser and Doug are going to have to potentially be pitting again. Maybe as well as Bofish Dara. I didn't see his tire and fuel situation there at the moment.
He's actually got better fuel and tire wear than the two Mercedes.
He can go a little bit longer here.
Oh, for sure, definitely.
Just needs to take car and wrestle the car home for a nice, solid Tier 2 race win here today. So he's looking pretty good at the moment.
Splash up into 5th place, looking to possibly make his second and final stop. And so now we're going to see how this true stop does pan on out, and with some of these restoppers as well, how it's going to pan on out as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting in the final pit cycle here that should come in about maybe 4-ish laps. Oh no, 3-ish. Wait, yeah, 3-ish laps or so. So we're going to see some of those guys from the top 5 making their pit stops here real soon. And T5 Black, he's just
gone.
He's just on his own at the moment. There's don't think he's in a major position just to hold back. He's just built that gap. He's just a nice Sunday drive is what we call it
here in America.
I guess so. he's just having a nice Sunday drive, maybe a little cup of tea in the in the armrest right there.
A cup of tea.
I'm sure he's got a cup. I'm sure he's got the OEM factory C7 cup holder in that car right there, just having a nice cup of hot tea as he's just making easy work of this racetrack with that.
How would he brew the tea is the big question.
Hey, you've got the water tube. Just put a water bottle slot in there, just fill it with tea.
How would he heat it up is the question.
It's cold tea.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! I was waiting for you to say, "Oh, he has the engine in front of him," and I was like,
"Hey, it's hot enough inside the car anyway."
Shut up! Shut up! Right, going back to the race here, we got Splash and Cabales as well as Hairraiser all coming into the pit lane for their final stops of the day, and Cabales actually jumping to number 11 of Splash for that final stop. So that track position gonna possibly pay a huge amount of dividends later in this running, and there is the number 34 of Carbonara, who is on those mediums, playing the long game here, going 5 minutes longer on those mediums, and we're gonna see if it does pan on out. Of course, this is going to be interesting to see if this Lexus can really try and get some of that time back in the later parts of the stint right here, where these soft compounds are going to really wear themselves out. But at the rate, how quick of a rate is it going to be for these softs to really wear themselves out?
I think he's really trying to take care of those tires and prepare for when these guys in the softs, like we said, are going to start having issues with the soft tires when they start to kind of fade away a little bit. Our Carbonara will have that extra grip in the medium tires here that he will need for the later half of his stint, and be interesting to see what this man could do here.
I did see one of the guys up at front pitting. It is going to be the number 78 of Tice, who will pit out of third place, sacrificing that position to Yuri, and possibly even Bo Fishidara, who has had a terrific Tier 2 race today after a little couple scraps with what I like to call the two British chaps of Doug Barrow and Bo Fishidar himself having a bit of a tussle here and there as well. He's actually going to come out, I believe, just ahead of that McLaren 650S. So there he is coming down the front straight, and Tice going to get that position. And Bo Fishidar, I believe, on those worn tires a little bit. Is he going to come in for his final stop, I imagine, despite, I think, going on the two-stopper. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's going to come in for a third stop.
Yeah, Bo Fishidar's got a very comfortable gap to the guy in second place here, so he can afford to push a little bit longer here, but not to the part where he wants to make a mistake here and potentially ruin his gap and potentially ruin his race win. As we see, mistakes-wise, Doug going a little bit wide there in that corner, just trying to hang on back with Swift there.
Yeah, he will have to come into the pits pretty soon regardless, so Doug Barrow, I don't think much is going to change for him. Oh, he's actually going to serve his penalty now before going into the pit lanes. He got the number 7 of James Head coming down to the Dunlop curve. Try and make up some lost time as well. This battle between Splash and Cabales still heating on up as they make their way through the Dunlop curve for hitting their mark at the Michael Schumacher S's. There is the race leader, T5 Black, coming into the pit lane for his final stop of the race. So this is going to be the stop that will make or break a lot of these drivers. And so
Palmer and Yura are going to drive on by, as well as Tice?
Tice made his pit stop already. No, I think Tice is way too far back. I think he's
I think that's Tap in the third car that passed him. Or no, it could be actually Yuri.
Bo Fishidara coming into the pit lane. So both class leaders coming into the pit lane for final stops here today.
Yeah, that McLaren just looks so good on racetrack, and it's just performing as well as that man right there, Bo Fishidara, really trying to make a name for himself, especially driving a car that's not known for being reasonably competitive in the GT3 world of this simulation right here. But Bo Fishidara, man, he's really turned some heads and raised some eyebrows with that car right there.
This battle's still going on between the number 11 and 46 cars. And Splash just really trying to find a way to get on by these two, by this number 46, who these two have come out of the pits side by side, or literally Cabala is just out in front. On board now, the number 11 from the driver's eye, just to give you a perspective of what the driver does see, having to fight off with the number 46. Ooh, a bit of a tank slapper there for Splash and the number 11.
Yeah, he's pushing a little bit there.
He is pushing a little bit. But I think Cabala in that Aston Martin uses his tires up a little bit more than that Mercedes does.
Yeah, the Aston Martin's got a little bit less cornering capabilities than the AMGs here, so it's going to be interesting to see how this battle differs with the Aston having less cornering capability. And as we see now, race leader 24 of Palmer into the pit lane
with his teammate Yuri to follow suit as
so
well.
So there's T5 Black.
He's actually rounding the final corner now, so
this has got to be a quick stop
I
here.
think this could be... I think T5 Black's going to clear him.
No, yeah.
Just as easily.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
And Tice could... Oh, no, there's Palmer.
Yuri still in the pit lane with Yuri coming across. Yuri now, I believe, going to come out just ahead of the 78, if not right alongside. Ooh, Yuri carrying a bit too much speed. Swift coming into the pit lane for his final stop of the day.
Yeah, not the best day for this driver here, but he's certainly toughened it out here for this race here. Good effort by him in the 95.
Rejoining out in 8th place.
There's a lot of traffic right behind him.
Yeah, he's got the number 27 and the 69, and I believe the 7 as well as the 34 not that far off as well. So I think the only driver on these racing mediums is indeed Carbon R.
That certainly is the
case. And that is certainly the case indeed. About a 6-second gap between... 7-second gap, I'd say, between Palmer and T5 Black. And T5 Black, like you said, with that cup of tea, just taking a sweet old time here. He's taking a sweet old time here, like I said, or like you said. He's just really growing that gap. He's really growing that gap. And watch him get the fastest lap of the race.
Will this be a 53? Can this man get the long way to 53 that we have been wanting to see here? He's got the fuel and the tires to do it. Very nice, clean exit here. It's going to be close here.
He's taking a sweet old time.
Oh, my God.
It's got to be that... It's got to be the chicane, the NGK chicane, which is really being a bit of an issue, as there is a bit of traffic ahead in the hands of UTAP. I think is going to just let that number 79 Corvette on by without any problems.
Yeah, don't want to be in the way of those cars right there.
Oh, and you got Yuri and Tice now battling it out for 3rd place, but I think they're going to try and keep positions as they are.
I don't think so.
They're going to probably enforce team orders here, I'm pretty sure.
Oh,
unless Tice is desperate, really that desperate to try and get by the number 77. And keep in mind,
Yuri's going to have to run. Yuri's going to be a little bit... Oh, look at the momentum.
Very slow, as a matter of fact.
Is Tice going to clear on the outside? Here comes Yuri back on the inside. Oh, they're still side by side. Oh, Yuri!
There's more contact.
Oh, it just had to set him up a little bit wide here. But let's see what Yuri does here. Down in the carousel here. Going to hang on back here.
It's a victimless crime if they hit each other.
Was that part of the team orders right there?
I think Keelan will have to confirm to us that.
Keelan's just like, what are you guys doing? What are you guys doing?
I think Keelan's probably having himself a massive migraine right now, just seeing these two just bump it out.
I just finished 10 ounces of coffee, so I am feeling great at the moment.
I still feel like crap. Well, yes, even almost 24 hours of racing straight, and I'm just like, oh my God.
Yeah, that was, oh.
I don't think there's...
did Tice get a kind of a bad exit there?
It must have been. Unless Yuri's going to get a penalty.
Oh,
Nope.
Yuri's going to follow him deep in the inside right there.
Keelan must be like, it's like, I can't believe this is going on right now.
Tice not wanting to give up that position back to Yuri.
No, not even in the slightest.
Oh, here comes
but
Yuri.
I think here comes Yuri. But I think he backed out of that one, I'm fairly certain. Me watching this battle right now, monkey face covered my eyes. We all assumed that was going to happen. Oh, and I think Yuri must have forced a dive on the inside.
Oh, can we see a replay on that? Because it looked like that there was some form of contact trying to be made right here. Let's see if Yuri try to look on the inside. Oh, Yuri had to look to the inside. Looks like Tice
made a lag spike there, I'm pretty sure.
It looks like Tice may have turned in just a little bit right there, as we see now Tice trying to get the inside lane towards the carousel right here. Yuri
Carousel? What do you... It's not like carousel.
Oh.
It's not even carousel. Get out.
No.
Get out.
So apparently I need to educate myself more on course corners, basically. Oh, it's right in my face. Now I'm embarrassed. Now I apologize to all the Germans who are watching this race stream at the moment. I'm not very good with my cornering, with my corners at the moment, and we'll try to learn on getting better out there. Keelan saying no team orders.
Keelan saying no team orders, so that's going to be interesting to see.
And these guys, they are going to be fighting out for the last spot on the podium here.
They want that desperate podium interview.
Everyone wants to speak their mind in peace.
Yes, they do. And Bofish Adara still out in the class lead of this race. The battle between Cabales and Splash appears to look like it has kind of spaced off to one another. And Bar 27 actually in second place in class. So a really well nice driven race for the number 27. What's happened to Doug Barrow? What's happened to Doug Barrow is the big question.
Yeah, he's had an incident somewhere.
It must have been because he's.
Oh,
he must be. I think he must have just had some form of incident, and now all of a sudden, unless he pit, which might have been the case.
Nah.
But he must have lost a ton of time.
Just said
his fastest lap of the race, so I don't know. Maybe Doug did. Maybe he must have had an incident. We're not even particularly sure about that. But Bar 27 in second place in class. Yuri and Tice still going about right now. I think the Cymax who are really biting all their fingernails off at the moment. And if they have bitten their fingernails, they're taking the hands of those who did not bite their fingernails and just going, like, I can't stand it. Oh, Yuri really pushing it through the Schumacher S's at the moment.
Oh.
And I think they're going to have the traffic of B8 UTAP to deal with as well. So that's not going to help out their cause any shape or form whatsoever.
You're really trying to push, get as much of that exit corner momentum as he can carry.
I'm going to do a Valtteri Bottas joke. I want that podium interview.
I want that podium interview.
And these guys are just really hopping the curves through the NGK chicane.
They're really taking a lot of advantage to curbing as well, whenever possible.
And so blue flags are waving desperately for the number 34 to even just get the heck out of the way.
I think UTAP's just trying to stay out of the way of this fight as well.
He's just really trying to not be in the way. And I think they made it so it's like it's completely ghosted.
Tyson's flashing his lights.
Oh boy.
Nah, he's just got him the curbing a little bit. Braked a little too.
In this game, you don't need to flash. In this game, you can just go right through him. You don't have to get out of the way. Just go through me.
And look, Yuri had a look, but Tice.
Big tank slapper there through the Mercedes arena, just to exit the Mercedes arena. Going towards the Valvoline curve. And this battle just
up to the Ford curve right here.
I see you're trying to use corner names finally. Thank goodness.
Thanks.
You're welcome. That's what brothers are for. And at the moment, T5 Black just still growing that gap now up to 11 seconds, just complete domination.
You think he's got a tea brewer in his passenger seat of this car at the moment? I'm sure he's having another cup of tea to celebrate this win he's about to have here very, very shortly in about 2-ish laps or so.
I think he's got VTEC.
No.
He's got a lot of stickers.
No. It's the LS swap. Because if you think about it, it's an LS. It's an LS.
Gotcha.
It's an L.
You think it's because with the amount of decals that he's got on the car, it's giving him more horsepower?
I think it's just giving more aerodynamics, more downforce.
Sleek. Sleek. And this battle's still far from over, and Keelan must be having a massive wallop of a headache right now, trying to compose himself.
You're a little bit of a tank slapper on the curbs there. Of course, Ty's going to drag him all the way to the pit wall right there, down towards the front stretch, towards turn 1 right there.
Keelan's just typing his expressions and emojis now.
Of course, Keelan...
Censored, but it's all emojis.
Of course, Keelan having a panic attack, watching this battle unfold. Well, could be.
No, it's a battle unfolding right now. No. That's not how it goes, my friend. That's not how it goes. Any more battles to keep an eye out for at the moment? Bar 27 of James, battle at the Aston Martins, and then you got Hairraiser, who's not even that far off behind as well. Oh, James going to try to make a move to the inside of bar 27. And Doug Barrow has got by the number 34 of Carbon R. And then you got yourself U-tapped, bringing up the rear of the grid. Keelan now is Gunther Steiner. Are you going to say enough is enough to your drivers? Enough means enough. No, enough means enough.
Oh, Ure looked like he was trying to push a little bit towards... Got a little bit of his tires up on the gravel trap a little bit there.
Ure with a... Jesus, voice cracked myself. Ure with a 1.4 second time penalty. And I think, is it because of the fact that he's completely cooked out his tires? Tice has actually got worse tires than Ure does in that Mercedes.
This is incredible racing here.
And Ure has less fuel just than that Mercedes in front.
And T5 Black
coming through for the final lap of the race.
Yeah, so T5 Black just Sunday drive mode through this last stint here. About 11.5 second lead over Palmer in the 24.
Yeah, a very good day so far. It's been a very good day for the Team Simpact racing crew of T5 Black, who will further extend their championship points lead and getting his second win in a row and his 4th win of the season here today at the 7th round of the SRS GT3 series in that Corvette. And there's just been basically nobody to stop this man. He's just been on cruise control. He's been having that cup of tea. You know, he is just cruising right now.
You think he was eating a sandwich there as well? Just, you know, lift up the visor a little bit.
Tea and what's the one term that the British like to use when they say like they're having a cup of tea and like something on the side, like
tea break?
What?
Tea break?
No. It's like a tea and something. It's like fish and chips or something like that, or something like that. I don't know. They have something, but I forget what it is. I want to use that as like, you know, kind of like a quote unquote joke kind of ish sort of thing at the moment. These two still going out, but we're going to go turn our eyes once again to the front of the field, where this man has been completely unstoppable, totally dominated the race here today, even though a little bit of a challenge. And I think one of the cars is going to wait up, but rounding the final corner, winning his 4th race of the season and 2nd win in a row, it will be the Corvette of T5 Black for Team Simpact Racing, who will win today's race at the Nurburgring. And Palmer, unfortunately, not able to mount the same challenge as he has in past races, will come through the line and make it a 2nd place finish. But Tice and Ure will make it 3 and 4 here today for the Cymax crew, adding on to Palmer's 2nd place finish. And this man has been a class above the rest here today in the Tier 2 division. And coming through the final corner, coming through 5th overall, Bo Fishadara will win Tier number 2 of the SRS GT3 Series with Cabales in 5th place in class and then Splash in 6th place. As a result, did he actually just had him get a reset? I'm pretty sure. Swift coming through for 8th place. James Head will come through for 8th place in finish. And then Bar 27, a 2nd place finish here today with Hairraiser rounding out the podium. And then the championship leader, Doug Barrow, will come home for 2nd place with Carbon R and UTAP rounding out the grid here today. What a race that was today.
Oh, that was absolutely a good race here today, but I'm obviously going to step away from the comm box now. I'm going to leave the interviews to SDM_RDZ here. It was once again another good time in the comm box, and next week I will be back on the racetrack in number 66 AMG.
And so the pole position, the fastest lap, and the race win for T5 Black. And so we'll get our podium finishers in both classes. So we'll have 6 individuals coming into the party. And of course, I have to make it public, of course, with the fact that Tice is, of course, a pleb and not able to join me. So I will have to invite him into the party. And so let's get our drivers into the commentary box. And so, where is that? And so that, and that. 6 of 16. And we're going to get our fellow podium finishers into the front. Keelan finally corrected me. Tea and crumpets. That's what it is. Thank you, Keelan, for correcting me on that. Tea and crumpets. I'm not British enough, aren't I, Keelan? So, unfortunately. But yes, T5 Black having the tea and crumpets for today's race, getting a commanding race win here today as we start getting our podium finishers into the party here today. We're actually going to start off with tier number 2 today, and actually start off with the man in 3rd place for the tier 2 division in the hands of Hairraiser. Hairraiser today, buddy, of course, you almost had that 2nd place finish, but of course you can only just snatch on to 3rd place today. Tell us about your race today, Hairraiser.
Well, I didn't even expect to come 3rd, to be honest with you. I was struggling on this track. It's not my favourite track, to be honest with you. And I thought I'd probably try the 3-stop strategy, try and jump Bar and Doug. It worked to a degree, but Bar just seemed to hit me at the post by a little bit.
And so, of course, you were kind of really trying to mount and challenge. You did make the 3-stop strategy work, unless my mind was confusing me. It was the 2-stop or the 3-stop? I kind of forgot already.
I did the 3-stop.
3-stop, gotcha. Did you think the 2-stop might have made the difference in you getting 3rd place, maybe even as much as 2nd place by any chance?
No, not at all, because the tyres for this track with the Mercedes are not very good. They burn the fronts off. And I know that my teammate was struggling a little bit with pits and steering.
And so a podium finish for Hairraiser, of course, in the number 69 Costa Racing by SDM entry. And so we'll turn our attention to the man in 2nd place, Bar 27. Bar, we don't spend a lot of time with each other in these post-race interviews. A 2nd place today in the Aston Martin V12 Vantage GT3. Tell us about your race today, Bar 27.
First, my 2nd pit stop, I kind of made a mistake by overfueling a bit, but despite that mistake, I had a pretty clean race and had a couple battles even with tier 1 people, but overall I'm happy with 2nd, and that's my highest position so far.
And so you're getting closer to your first ever win of the season as well. Do you think this is kind of in the right step for you? And do you think you're going to be possibly trying to eye for a race win by the end of the season with 2 rounds to go?
In short, yes.
And so Bart's was looking to further better his best finishing performance of 2nd place to possibly get a race win in the final 2 rounds of the race. And then we'll finally turn our attention to Bo Fishadara, who was a class above the rest today, a commanding 1st place finish today with the McLaren 650S GT3. Bo Fishadara, you made the McLaren work out today. and you probably did not expect to be finishing up right where you are in the middle of tier 1 people today. Tell us about your race today, Bo.
Yeah, definitely mixed with the tier 1 guys. I was definitely a surprise. So glad I got the pace to mix up with those guys. So hope I wasn't getting in anybody's way. But yeah, I had the characteristically bad start with the McLaren. Just bogged off the line. Doug overtook me and went a bit long in my first stint. Well, pitted, went long, and just managed to undercut him into the pits. So yeah, that worked out quite well. Then just from there, just kept my nose clean, kept going, kept pulling. Yeah, it's quite straightforward after that.
And so, of course, I think you were making the 2-stop work. Do you think the 2-stop would have made? Were you thinking about making the 3-stop strategy work today, or did you think the 2-stop was the wise decision to go with the 650S, given the tire wear that McLaren has as its natural characteristic? I'm sorry.
I did go for a 3-stop. So yeah, my first stint was longer, so I extended by 11 laps, which was 2 or 3 laps longer than Doug. So when I caught up to him for the second stint. Then I managed to follow him in and well, I didn't have to do as much as him, so I came out ahead and ran away from there. Then appeared one more time towards the end with I think 6 laps to go, and yeah, just kept pulling.
And so a good day for you, Bo Fishadara, to get a first win of the season. I'm sure you're very, very ecstatic about that as well, especially in a car that's very not well recognized at getting good race results. So a good day for you, Bo, in the cockpit of the McLaren. And of course, you're going to be really, very happy about that race win here today.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I am. I'm ecstatic.
And so we'll finally turn our eyes to the Tier 1 division of competitors, where we're starting off with the Kimi Räikkönen of the group. Tice, man, another podium finish for you today. I'm pretty sure you weren't expecting a podium finish here today at all.
I was in B3, but then I just thought, let's try something different to pretty much everyone, because I didn't expect them to go for the 3-stop. So I thought, let's try the 2-stop and then see what that gives.
And so you were one of the few guys that actually tried making the 2-stop, and it actually worked very, very well in your favor. Yeah, a couple of guys further down the pack actually tried making the 2-stop, and unfortunately it didn't work out for them. But of course, did you think the 2-stop was kind of like an oddball decision to make, or was it kind of something that you made on the fly?
Well, I thought everyone would be making it, but then seeing the 3-stop and then seeing how much time I lost to everyone around me on the worn tires, the 3-stop would be better, yeah.
And so if you had made the 3-stop, did you think you possibly could have seen yourself in a higher position for the race, or are you pretty happy about with the 2-stop here?
No, I think in both the case of the 2 and the 3-stop, it would have been the maximum of B3. Like at the end, I had a massive battle with Uray, which would also happen if it was a 3-stop. My tires were just a bit more short in the battle.
And so a good day for Tice in the 3rd place Mercedes for the 78 team of SideMax crew. And we'll turn our eyes to SMM Palmer. Of course, Palmer, it must have been a difficult day for you, man, but you sucked it up and get P2 today, of course, but you would have been much more in line to battle for T5 Black for that race win. Tell us about your race today, Palmer.
Quite a boring one in the end. It went by quite quickly, actually. Of course, I didn't manage to have quite a good battle with T5, but in the end, his pace was way too quick. 54.0 is something that I've never seen around here. And to be honest, that lap in qualifying that I did surprised me a lot when I was driving. Well, when I was doing the lap, I thought it would probably be like a 55 something. So. Yeah, and to be honest, I think like after the first stint and after the second stint, I knew I didn't really have a chance. Of course, it was nice to show off my defense skills, but of course it wasn't good enough in the end. And of course, congratulations to T5. But of course, Laguna Seca next, which I don't know, it's sort of like a half good track, half bad track for me. Like I don't really have much experience with Mercedes around that track, so hopefully, I can put up a bigger fight next week.
And so was there kind of any straightforward differences in your strategy today, or was this kind of like the maximum that you could have hoped for in terms of a points finishing position here today?
Well, like I said, with the tyre wear, they seem to be only good for about 7 to 8 laps, and then they would like probably go off. And pretty much I only found that out in the first stint because I haven't really done much practice for this race. Of course, fuel, I just filled out for 8 laps every time. And of course, it just wasn't really good enough in the end. But, of course, I tried my best with the strategy and with the pace that I thought I had. But, not really much I could do in the end.
And so a good day regardless for Palmer in P2. Of course, we would be better off if he won the race, but of course it is what it is. And of course the pace difference for the first and second place cars showing a lot. And speaking of which, we're going to turn our attention now to the race winner of them all, T5 Black. My brother said you were just enjoying a couple of tea for that race, my friend, with a bunch of tea and crumpets in the first place car of that Corvette. Tell us about your race today, T5 Black.
It was a good race. I love Nurburgring GP. I was struggling in the first stint. I wanted to shake off Palmer, but he stayed on my slipstream. And I needed to the second stint to add more fuel, and then catch him and save fuel, and then in the third stint. Fuel less,
And so what was the key in trying to shake off the number 24 Palmer to get yourself a bit of a gap and then really establish the pace that you've had shown in the second to final stints of the race as well? And I could tell, oh Jesus, good Lord. And I could tell you, as soon as you built that gap to Palmer, it must have made a humongous difference in trying to set the pace for everyone, and then next thing you know, you have like a 12-second gap to the next guy behind you or something like that.
The key was I needed to come out maybe with 2 or 3 seconds with a gap to Palmer, so I could do my own race and just focus on going my lines, not fighting on the track, not having someone stay behind me or stay behind someone else. It's more easy to just keep my head down and drive by my own.
And so a good day for T5 Black in the number 79 Team Simpat Racing Chevy Corvette GT3R. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said, if you did enjoy that race today for a mixed bag of Tier 1 and 2 action today at the Nurburgring. Of course, we were a little down on entries today, but that doesn't mean the quality of driving was at its peak today. Leave a like, leave a comment, and if you want to follow us up for the remaining 2 rounds of the season at the Laguna Seca circuit for next time by, and at Le Mans for the finale, please subscribe to the YouTube channel and turn on that bell as well. But ladies and gentlemen, if you did enjoy, I've been SD_RDZ, earlier joined by SD and Viper. Congratulations to all of our podium finishers, winners, and finishers of the race here today. And we will see you guys next week for round 8 of the SRS GT3 series at Laguna Seca.